Hello and welcome to Fun Shots for the Queen. Um, it's Sunday, and those of you who are here often may know that usually we have Ryutama around this time, but you may also notice that some of our cast is missing because they're off doing awesome stuff and not playing Ryutama with us nerds. But rather than be deterred, Summer had a fantastic idea that we should play this super dramatic game that she has called For the Queen. So we're gonna do that. That's why that is why we are gathered here today. But before we do that, and Summer teaches us how to play this game, let's go around talk about how we've been, what we've been up to, starting with you, Summer. How have you been? What's your week been like?
Good. We did, I think, well, fuck. It's been a second since time is so hard. I can't even tell you. But we're officially on off the table. We have all of our session zeros out of the way. So that's really exciting. We're jumping into a bunch of campaigns this week. We're doing a Last for the Awful Sea, all this other we're doing and Tales from the Loop is I think are the two new ones that are starting up this week. And then Urban Shadows is about to come back. But this week was really, really good. We finally have in my D&D campaign, we finally have everybody back together because the party's been split for a long time and they didn't like it. I don't blame them. And then Urban Shadows is just like spiraling out of control the way that I love that it does, which is it's my favorite thing about that game. It's so funny because they, at the end of the session, they're like, so much shit is happening. I'm like, yes, that's how it's supposed to be. Like, all of the shit is supposed to be happening. It's just been a good week. It's just been chill. Had a very emotional day. Doing my session one for the Cypher System Highlander campaign that I'm doing over on Tales from the Grim. Yeah, it's been good. It's just been a lot of games. And a lot of this week was really weird though because it snowed a lot and so I worked from home for 4 days and only was in the office on Friday, which made Friday feel very, very surreal. And I don't want to go back to work tomorrow. I just want to work from home forever.
Just be like, oh, it's snowing right here
It's
on my
snowing.
house.
I live literally like 3 minutes from the office, so they would probably maybe know.
If they really need you to come in for a meeting, you can go in for a meeting, but
I know. That's what I need to tell them. I just need to start negotiating for my work from home.
Yeah.
Like I'm so close that like why would I even need to come in?
I don't need to come in.
I know. I have desk time and I have couch time at work. So we have a couch like in our office. And I go and sit at my desk and then at some point in the morning I go, it's couch time. And everybody's like already because it's getting earlier and earlier that I migrate over with my laptop to the couch and just spend all day on the couch and it's really nice. So like why couldn't I just do that from home?
yeah, and I'm sure we can source you some articles on working from home and its effects on productivity, as they are mostly positive. So yeah, we should do that.
Send them my way. I need them.
But also, did you not have the greatest session zero of your life yesterday? Was that not just the best?
I think you mean worst. No, I did. It was so good.
My heart.
No, we did our Ryutama session zero yesterday and it was really good. I forgot how fucking much I love character creation, world building, town. I mean, we do town creation obviously, but it was so different doing like our hometown. Which was really, really fun. And then obviously playing with new people. We didn't have the whole group there, so they missed out. But it was really fun, and I'm very, very excited just to see the tonal differences and like the play differences in what our Ryutama game is versus that game. I think they're going to be totally like night and day.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just really, really excited.
Yeah.
I'm an adult in that one too, so that's all that matters.
One of the players who I hadn't played with before, Kyle, really surprised me with how quickly he took to everything.
Yeah.
Because I've never played a game with him. We met at PAX Unplugged very briefly, and I was like, this dude's cool. And then he signed up for Ryutama, and I was like, let's do it. And then like the moment we started the group chat, he was like 110% in, and I was like, perfect.
Yes. No, I really, really love that. Because, you know, it's always kind of like nerve-wracking when you have people sign up for games that you've never played with or haven't like even experienced in like the Twitch sphere. You never really know how it's going to go pulling in those new people. And he was like awesome, totally on board for everything. Like, and I love seeing what people are drawn to or gravitate towards during character creation and like town creation and stuff. Also, I'm very excited to play someone so different than Lamb. Like, same age, different, just totally opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm playing a healer, Lindy. Not a puncher. Can you believe it? I was like, what would Dylan do if I just played the same exact character?
I would quit.
You can't.
There's only enough room in the universe for one Lamb. That's it.
That's true. There really is.
I'm glad you didn't go with healer though, because if you had been a hunter and had rolled like any successful hunting checks, I'd have been so jealous.
I don't know if Lauren has talked about what she's gonna do, but I feel like Lauren could go hunter. For her character. We'll see.
I may have dragged Kiro a little bit when I was describing the classes.
You dragged all of us when you were describing the classes. You literally just dragged all of us.
You were like, hunters suck. They can never catch anything.
No, there's
and you were like,
some
you were like, oh, you can't go unarmed.
Yes. Well, okay. The book specifically says if the GM allows it, you can pick unarmed.
You allowed it the first time. That's on you.
I did. It was on me. It was a mistake. It was also partially on you for pushing for it so hard.
I wanted it.
You did, and I kept trying to tell you that you didn't want it.
I did want it, and I still do.
So in the book, I was just reading the descriptions for each of the classes, and the book says they were able to find food in any terrain while en route to their destination. And I may have name dropped Kira in that moment.
Yeah.
Well,
like 1% of the time, they're able to find food on the hunt
for themselves and no one else.
Oh man!
I bumped up her dex. Okay, she's
help.
good hunter now.
Have you been, Lindy? How's your week been?
It's been busy, actually. I've been good though. Good. It's been a good kind of busy. Mm-hmm. It's been like one of those weeks where you're like, I'm so busy, but then you look and you're like, I've been so unproductive. So it's kind of a weird week, but it's pretty good. Just playing a lot of games. Yeah, a lot of tabletop.
I heard you had some shenanigans with a grenade.
Yes. I just got finished playing Pulp Cthulhu.
Wait, so who threw the grenade?
Whose grenade? Who are we blaming?
Whose grenade was it?
I'll let you guess, Summer.
Okay, but there's two potentially guilty individuals.
Okay. It's not the twins. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I fucking knew that. Those sweet babs are not going to be throwing grenades.
Sweet and darling, yeah.
I did see your clip of the flexibility of you stretching
of my
out.
Leg. Hold on.
Of your leg.
I have a leg. I'm a circus contortionist. My shoe's starting to come off a little bit.
Jesus.
But I can just
That's not a real leg, right?
Yep, it is real. Look at that ankle.
No, it's not.
That's what legs look like.
The shoe's coming off. I need to get a better device for it. But yeah, I did.
I died. That was so good.
Equals OTP.
Gotta get the character.
It was one Derby, one Mr. Derby, not Dwight Steven, who threw a grenade.
Yeah.
It wasn't the fact that a grenade was thrown next to a radio tower we needed to use. That made us all spend a bunch of luck to have it not fall over. But the fact that he said, "Here, throw this grenade, Arturo," my twin brother who's opposed to violence, and we're like, "No!" So I took the grenade, and he says, "Okay, all right, you've convinced me. I won't throw the grenade. Just give it back." "Okay, hand it back." He immediately throws the grenade.
Liar. That's the way to build trust in a party.
That's exactly what I said. He's like,
just fire him.
And after the fact, he was like, "Oh, I'm not, trying to do some, sneaky deception." I'm like, "You're right. It's just bold-faced lies."
It's not even like you're not even trying to be
impressive.
sneaky about it.
You're not. So, my dear little Italian girl is, she's pissed.
Yeah, as you would be if somebody said, "Don't worry, I won't throw it," and then immediately threw the grenade.
Okay, I won't throw it. It wasn't even like a couple minutes. It was immediate. Okay, I won't throw it.
God.
But we all survived. I didn't die.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's just
on that
Heart
game.
probably
Yeah.
broke a little bit, but
Yeah, but I'm not, a little bit. I was like, "Goodbye, luck." Oh, you were nice at one point in time. But I'm not gonna lie. I have a character who's a little similar on Mouse Guard, so I can sympathize a smidgen. So I'm doing a mini monthly modules in February is Mouse Guard, and I decided that I thought the trait Fearless would be really funny.
Mhm.
Turns out it is kind of funny, but when you say, "I'm gonna tame this duck," that's like 5
Right.
stories tall compared to a mouse, and then it's like really difficult, and you don't have many dice. You're like, "Oh, this is easy. I'm gonna fail it, get some consequences," and then you succeed.
Oh,
That's when it becomes a
no.
problem.
That's when you
So-
get an ego.
And it was bad. My mouse went on a flight, fought a frog. It was fine, but
Oh my God.
Quackers was a great duck.
was.
Yes, and the other mice in my party let him go. I was like,
Oh,
"No,
okay.
Quackers, come back," and they were like, "No, let him go." And I was like, "No, Quackers." It's dramatic, but
If you love it, let it go.
That's true.
it was gonna eat the frog that tried to kill us, so I guess it was fine. But the world is dangerous for mice. I've discovered that
true.
in Mouse Guard.
It is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But
I've
it's
been-
it's a fun system. I'm enjoying it a lot, actually.
It is really fun. I've been lucky in that the Mouse Guard games I've played in were very like soft pod. Like they were not Ethan doesn't like killing kid mice in his games. And he's the only game mouster that I've played with.
He's a my game mouster.
Hey. Yeah, we've only played. I think you're playing a more standard Mouse Guard, right? Where you're like actually in, or you're rangers or
The guard.
something.
We're rangers, yeah.
Yeah. Our stuff has very much been like your kids
Yeah.
being kids, and so for those it's been like very nice, and like there
Yeah,
was
we're
a
actually
scary
rangers.
moment in Garden of the Giants with like a frickin' mouse graveyard with an owl, but
Ooh.
other than that, like
Yeah.
it was pretty
Well,
safe.
A
But
squirrel tried to steal our mail.
Rude.
We were supposed to chase off the duck, but I tamed it and it flew away with me. And then we fought a frog, and then there's a creepy magic orb that I don't trust. Yeah, I know.
Spooky.
So super spooky. So
Yeah.
I'm doing that. But if you guys have any suggestions or ideas or want to partake in March, I don't actually have any plans for March's mini monthly modules. So yeah, if you wanna we'll talk afterwards about that, I'd be more than happy to, because I've got
Indeed.
ideas but no like set plans, and I should because it's halfway through the month. So
I literally can't
know
believe
that
how
feeling.
fast this month is flying by.
I
same
hate it.
hard same.
January lasted 20,000 years. February is blasting by. I
Yes.
don't understand.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I think all of the games are finally getting into full swing. I think that has
Yes.
a lot to do with it.
That
like
does.
schedules are full now.
Mm-hmm. 100%
And so-
agree.
Every day, like I think this past Wednesday was like technically my last day off until May. Like it was my last day without a game.
Mhm.
Because we record when we're not streaming on Wednesdays for
Mhm.
our podcast. But I feel like that's probably why there was a lot of like prep time going on in January as everybody was like gearing up for their seasons, and then now it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're in it now. So
Yeah. January
It's
had
going
prep
really
time.
quickly.
I had a bunch of big projects in January. I was supposed to make plans to go visit my sister in LA like
Mhm.
this month, and now it's halfway through the month and she has a competition at the end of the month. So that's not happening, I guess. And I don't know where the middle of the month came from, but now it's here.
we're in it now.
Yep. Yeah. But my life has been disappearing down the hole of Apex Legends. This past week,
A great hole to throw it
week and
down.
a half. It really is. It's been a lot of fun
One
when
big
I'm playing
hole.
with friends. It's less fun when I'm playing with randos and they fucking don't communicate or do anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, the gaming chat in the Discord has a little bit of a miniaturized screed for me on why these motherfuckers don't ping shit when they run off and let me know that they're leaving, and then they go die.
Bye.
Ah! But yeah, playing with friends has been great, and it's the first time in a long time where I've like felt like I'm getting better at a game as I play it, and that's such a good feeling. Like I used to. Back in the olden days, I used to play League of Legends. Oh, yes. And boy, was that not good for my mental health because everyone there was an asshole. But I really enjoyed, like, grinding out games and, like, learning strategies and, like, figuring out how to play the map and that sort of stuff. And, like, I got a little bit of that with Overwatch, especially when I started playing with friends again in, like, December. But really, like, Apex has such a mechanical component to it where every time I boot up a game, I can be like, even if I didn't get to the final 3, right? Even if I didn't get close to winning the round, did I personally play well? Yes or no? And if no, how, like, where did I fuck up? What can I learn from this? And that's been super duper enjoyable. I'm really liking that. But yeah, that and yep, that's it. That's my life. That's the only thing I've been up to this week. It feels terrible to say it out loud, but it's true.
Who cares?
I've been up to
whatever.
about 5 foot even, so.
And that's our show. All right, so we'll see you here in a week for Ryoko Sayo, aka
Lindy will not be back.
No.
Say goodbye, Lindy.
No. As a matter of fact, not. Oh God. Summer, save me from that.
Yeah.
Do we wanna hop into
Good
some
pun.
For the
It's a good
Queen?
pun.
And-
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
It's a really,
I'm gonna
really,
pop our
really,
screen.
really.
Oh, that's the wrong button. Apparently,
Do it,
That
pop it
doesn't
out.
take us. Wait, what? Do I not have a Stream Deck button for this anymore? Fuck it, I'll just click it in OBS.
Click.
Boom! Here we are. Look at For the
Um,
Queen. It's right there. It's by Alex Roberts.
Yes,
who
it
makes
is
amazing games.
it's an amazing. This is one of them. Alex Roberts told us that she woke up one morning and literally what we're seeing for this game is what her first draft basically was. It's a card-based prompt game. I'm going to read through the instructions, but essentially what happens is we'll pick a queen together. There's 12 cards that all have different illustrations of different queens on them. We pick one that we feel inspired by, and then we read prompt cards. And basically, I'm going to be going first, but I draw a card, I read the prompt, and I answer it however I like. Something that's really interesting about this game is like there's not much like role play. It's more like us telling a story about like the journey that we're on together and the past. And only twice have the characters had quote unquote names. Generally, like I don't foresee us having character names. It's just something that's like pretty interesting. One of them, the only one, like Alex had a character name, but it was a bad nickname that people called her character to make fun of her. Like it's like weird
Gotcha.
stuff like that. It wasn't even her actual name. So I'm going to read through the instructions. Here they go.
Please.
We can't do that. The land you live in has been at war for as long as any of you have been alive. The Queen has decided to undertake a long and perilous journey to broker an alliance with a distant power. The Queen has chosen all of you and no one else to be her retinue and accompany her on this journey. She chose you because she knows that you love her. You are welcome to look through the Queen cards for inspiration. If there is one that seems right for the group, place it on the table to inspire your story. This some deck stuff. Shuffle the red cards. We read through the prompt cards. Blah blah blah. When you've read the instruction cards, continue clockwise with the red prompt cards. Take turns reading the questions out loud. Interpret these questions and answer them however you wish. Other players may ask you questions or make suggestions on your turn, but whether you answer those questions or include those suggestions is up to you. Place the X card somewhere everyone can easily reach it. We have it built into the Roll20. If you encounter a card or an answer that you don't want to be included in the game, tap the X card. That content is removed from the game. If you drew a card that is removed this way, simply draw another card. You can X a card that you drew yourself. You can also pass on your turn. To do so, give the prompt card you drew to the next player and say, I'd like to hear your answer to this question. This is the biggest fuck you in the entire game. It doesn't say that in the instructions. I'm just telling you. A prompt card can be passed around the table until someone applies the X card to it. Continue answering, passing, and Xing questions until the queen is under attack card is drawn. I have this one shuffled kind of into the back of the deck. Each player should answer that question in turn, and then the game is over. And then we can start whenever we want. So basically, I'm going to start laying out the queen cards.
Please
Okay.
do.
And if you see one that you like, we can pick her to be our queen. But it's literally just the 4 of us on this journey together, the queen and the 3 of us. And we are going to a distant land.
Not that one.
She's
Oh.
so good.
I know
Okay.
you will. I have watched Summer play this game 2 or 3 times, and every time it's like evil queen.
We have not. We've only picked the evil queen twice. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Is there a queen that we feel particularly drawn to?
I like 2. Well, yeah, I like 2 of them a lot. I like first queen and the third queen.
This one,
These 2?
Yeah, and that one.
Yeah.
I like them
this.
as well.
I do too.
Summer.
So I'm gonna
between
delete the rest of these, and then we'll pick between these 2.
Empress Palpatine. Yes.
Well, one of them has a dog.
That is a bonus.
The dog is actually the queen on that card. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh,
Sorry,
Oh,
I didn't.
okay.
That would change this game like
significantly.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one she's very like wistful. This one, she seems sad to me.
But I think she seems happy. She's got like a bird on her hand.
Look at her eyes.
Look at her eyes.
Look into her eyes. She looks so quietly sad.
She looks at peace to me.
Okay, we can talk about it later. Okay, which one?
Let's
Okay,
chat
so
then.
are you really torn equally on these 2? Both of you? Or do one of you have a preference?
I think I kind of like, now that you've pointed out the eyes.
You
I'm
like her?
leaning towards more number 2. Like, she does look sad.
So this
Okay.
one?
Okay, let's go
Yeah.
with number 2.
Okay.
With her. I'm not gonna be able to look at her and be like, oh man, look at them sad eyeballs. I don't. Yeah.
But that's good. We like sad queens. They're good.
I mean, we
Do
do.
We do.
But
It's universally acknowledged. We love a good sad queen.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So I'm going to.
I like this wistful queen, Summer. I like
Me
my
too.
queen's wistful.
Yeah, but she's probably a bitch.
Oh my god. Sorry.
It's just how the game works.
Ugh.
It's just how it works. Okay.
Let's see.
Awesome. So I'm drawing the first card. We should pick a turn order. Who's going to go after me?
Let's
'Cause
just
we always
go
go in
by
the same order.
overlay. So Summer and then Lindy and then me.
Okay. Why are some others at the royal court jealous of your relationship with the queen? Fuck.
I swear to God, Summer.
I can do whatever I want. That's
I-
part of the rules.
I know you can. But still.
Okay. My God, I don't know what I want to do. There's so many different directions I could go in right now with our relationship. I think that me and the queen are like lifelong friends. we probably grew up together.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that I'm particularly like super educated in the court and in like I don't think I'm nobility necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I see this as more of a maybe like her wet nurse was like my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so we grew up very, very close together. And I think that people are jealous of our relationship because she takes my opinion in such high regard. Um, Even though I might not have necessarily like earned that respect from the rest of the court.
Right.
And y'all can ask questions about this, or we can just move on to the next card.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously she values your opinion.
Right.
But how do you feel about that? Do you feel comfortable given that your word carries more weight than your station? Or do you find that awkward?
I think that I know that other people are jealous of this relationship, but I don't think I really think too much about it.
Nice.
I feel like I in like periphery know that people feel that way, but I kind of feel removed from it. Because obviously like the way that I think of her is very different from the way that other people think of her. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I see her as like the queen. Like she's not like this big like figurehead to me. She's more of this this person that I grew up with.
Right.
Like nearly as close as a sibling. Um so other people are maybe jealous, but I don't think it affects me literally at all. Kind of just like oblivious to it a little bit.
So you like
It would have always been this way.
so you refer to her by her name and not your highness?
Oh yeah, absolutely. First name basis.
Awesome. Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Lindy, if you don't have any questions for me.
No, I'm pretty good.
So things that I could have done though. If I had not wanted to answer this question, I could have X-carded it and drawn another card.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could have said, Lindy, I would like to hear your answer to this question. So I
Okay.
could have passed the card to you, and then this would have acted as your turn, unless you had
Okay.
passed the card to Dylan. And then once it
Okay.
got back to me, I would have X'd it if he had wanted to answer it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
I
don't,
get
if you get a card that's real ouch and you're like, this doesn't make sense to my character, you can pass it to somebody else, or you can just be like, nope, and get rid of it and draw a new card.
Okay. So we don't all answer the same questions. It's new cards for each
Nope.
person.
You're gonna
Okay.
answer. You just drag out the card if you like hover
Okay.
over the red deck and drag it out on
Okey-dokey.
top.
Let's see. Oh, that one. There we go. Boop.
Yay!
Ooh.
All right. Suspect this journey isn't just about diplomatic negotiations. What else do you believe is going on and why? Oh man! I've got an answer for this one.
Do it.
So, I suspect this journey isn't just about diplomatic negotiations. 'Cause see, the queen and I are smooching, and
Makes
lately
sense.
Every fucking game.
and lately she's been like really distracted. Whenever, you know, like this journey is brought up, and she just hasn't been affectionate. I think that this journey is not just about diplomatic negotiations, but about a marriage, potentially, with wherever we're going, with another kingdom or something. And so she's trying to distance herself from me, her lover extraordinaire,
Mhm.
before she gets to this place so that it's not as hard for her.
Why do you think that she would keep if a marriage was part of the deal, why do you think she would keep that a secret from, I'm assuming, not only you, but probably most people?
Maybe it's she keep it a secret.
Are you a noble?
Well,
Because if y'all are smooching and like maybe the people would like to see the two of you together,
yeah,
then that might be a reason.
I think that I am nobility, but like not high up nobility. Like I'm like
Mm.
the eighth child of this ducal family. It's not real great ranking. I don't have a large dowry or anything to, put forward or anything. So I think she's kind of trying to distance herself from that. And why she'd keep it hidden? Maybe the kingdom we're going to isn't very well received, or maybe we've been at war with them for some time, and so she's trying to keep it all on the DL in case
Yeah.
negotiations don't go well.
Yeah, the trip that we're on is to broker an alliance with a foreign power.
Yeah.
They're not very specific about like if this is the kingdom we've been at war at
Mm-hmm.
with for before any of us were born.
Mm-hmm. Maybe she's
but
keeping it,
that
quiet
makes
just in case it doesn't go well because we've been at war.
So maybe the plan for like alliances that she's gonna marry someone
Mhm.
over there.
Mhm.
Maybe. That's what I suspect based on our
Oof.
bedroom interactions
You
lately.
suspect it. Have you told any of the rest of us? Because there's only the 4 of us on this journey. Have you told myself or Dylan's character about
Not
your
yet.
suspicion?
Not yet.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Draw a card, Dylan.
Summer, do it for me. I don't have the tabletop up.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
I have Zoom up instead.
Ooh.
Oh.
Why do you think the queen trusts you enough to bring you on this journey? I think I'm her bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
But I am her bodyguard specifically because there was an attempt on her life a couple years back.
Mm-hmm.
And I caught the assassin and stopped them. Whereas none of the rest of the guard noticed until it was almost too late. And so she was like, you pay attention, so I trust you. You get to come with on this thing. You're the person. When shit's going bad, I bring you.
So were
Who-
you... Oh, go ahead. You go.
Who was the assassin? Like, where did they come from? Like, did she kill
Where did
them?
they
Did you
go?
find out who it was?
I'm sure the kingdom has people that sort of deal with that sort of thing. I didn't kill them. I caught
Okay.
them. I captured them.
Okay.
And I think there are people that get information out of people, and I am not one of those kinds of dudes. And so I don't know where they were from. I don't know who it was, and I don't really care. Doesn't seem super important to me. If the queen felt it was important, she would have told, like, for me to know, she would have told me so I could keep an eye out. But obviously she didn't say, like, oh, this assassin came from here, so she must not want to prejudice me against any particular kingdom.
Okay.
You had a question, Summer?
Oh, I was just going to say, are you, like, is this your first big job for the queen since the assassination?
I think so. I don't really get the impression that she leaves the palace a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, or at least not for long journeys like this. And certainly, like, if she did go somewhere, she'd usually bring lots of people. So it's probably a little strange to me, and like in a worrisome way, that she's only brought myself, this 8th kid of a duke somewhere, and her childhood best friend along. I'm definitely very suspicious about that.
Absolutely. I would be too. I'd be worried. Okay, I'm going to go.
Okay.
Unless y'all have any other questions.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Ooh. You think if
Who?
someone in this retinue is the queen's favorite, who? What makes you think this? I feel torn on this one. Because I think that part of me believes that I am the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
because that's just like what makes the most sense to me. But I think that having seen probably maybe towards the beginning, Lindy, like y'all were not, maybe she wasn't as distant at the beginning.
Oh, definitely not. It's only been recently that she's been distant.
Because this is like a long ass journey.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that like I don't think I've ever seen her interact like in an intimate situation with other people, because I'm just like kind of like around her all the time, but it's always like very like, I don't know, like it's just the palace, you know? I don't see like where she goes at night. And so I think that like seeing that has kind of made me question that a little bit. And so I think that I still tell myself like I'm the favorite, but there's definitely like that little spark of doubt that's like, maybe I'm not the favorite. And that Lindy's character would be up there, close. It's definitely not the bodyguard.
No. I'm just some dude.
What are you even doing here?
Protecting the queen.
Me too.
Yeah, same.
Sure thing. Yeah, definitely. I believe that.
I am.
How does this make your character feel about mine? How does that make her act towards me?
I think I just see her as really like spacey, kind of like ditz. So I think I don't know if she has the ability to be like cold to you. She definitely thinks that she's being a little bit cold, maybe. Like, not like she'll give everybody like 2 scoops of soup at dinner and you get like 1.5. Like your scoops are small.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Beef.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like the pettiest, like tiniest little things. But generally, I think she's still pretty nice.
Okay.
Because she doesn't want the journey to be unpleasant, and she knows that if she stirs up too much shit, it's gonna get really, really awkward really fast, and we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
And also, I think that her like denial is pretty strong. So she's like, I am the favorite. Like, what? It's like when she's alone at night. She's like, I'm not.
Thinking back, was that thing that I said?
Yeah.
That one time, like 6 years ago. Yeah.
Maybe she's
misjudged this relationship all along.
Yeah.
Maybe she was really friendly to her servants.
Yeah.
Big mood.
Y'all got any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Lindy, do it.
I guess it's my turn. Let's
draw
go.
a bad one.
Oh
no. Ooh.
Oh man. Okay.
That's a really good question.
You were summoned to a private meeting with the queen once. Why did you feel disappointed afterwards? Okay. Dylan.
Oh no. This is a sex thing.
This is very recently, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, when I'm summoned to a Dylan's faces are just killing me. When I'm summoned to a private meeting with the queen, it means it's gonna be a good night. We're gonna feel great. We're gonna have an awesome time.
It's time.
Lots of canoodling, smooching. But this last time we were on this journey, she just wanted to talk about weather and roads and travel, and I was more than happy to give my input, but I was like we just give a little smooch before leaving that night. Like I felt disappointed that we didn't, that I didn't stay the night in her tent like usual that night. It was just a little sad, a little heartbroken.
Which one of us saw you leaving?
I think the bodyguard.
Bodyguard, did you do anything about it? Or think anything of it?
I don't think I didn't do anything about it, but I definitely thought things about it. In that I think I noticed your disappointment. Right? Like I noticed you leaving looking maybe upset. Maybe frustrated. And I took note of that and was concerned. Like I trust the queen's judgment, Um, but I don't know that I don't know that I trust her to look past her past relationship with you, right? If you start becoming dangerous, um, I don't. I think she might just sort of assume you're like in a mood or something like that, and so I'm concerned that I'm probably keeping a closer eye on you now.
Okay.
Lindy, do you tell anyone about it, or like does this disappointment manifest further into the trip?
I think she's pretty. My character is pretty cheerful and happy and stuff. I think it just manifests as her being a bit quieter for the next couple of days on the trip,
For sure.
which might lead her to reach her conclusion from that first card, like, distance.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sweet. Dylan, I'll draw you a card.
Thank you. This is why
What
we're
makes
friends. What makes the queen beautiful in my eyes? Her compassion. She cares deeply about her people and about the people that she interacts with. She has to, because of her station, she has to deal with people that want things from her and her kingdom on a regular basis. And it takes a lot to be able to have those interactions and still come out of it looking at people as if they're people and not potential enemies or like some kind of drain on you. Be able to come out of that and be like, no, everyone is an individual. It takes a lot. And I think that is what strikes me as beautiful about her.
When was the queen compassionate to you? What was it? When was the time she showed compassion?
I think there was when my parents died, there was a sickness that hit sort of the town outside the castle. And you know, a lot of people lost friends and family when that happened. And both of my parents died. And I like, my character's too dedicated to his job to be like, I need a day off, my parents died. Like, he doesn't do a whole lot of self-care. And I think there was a point where she like canceled some appointments so that she was less busy, so that I didn't have to go to as many things, and like be in these situations where I had to be like on and alert as much until I'd had time to like heal.
Love it. No further question.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna go. Oh, I would like to hear your answer to this card, Lindy.
Oh, my answer to this card.
So I'm passing it to you.
Okay, you sometimes think he might be the queen's favorite. Why? And why does this worry you? Well, obvious reasons why I think that I might be the queen's favorite, as you know, we've kind of been seeing each other fairly casually at first for the past year or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. And it was starting to get kind of serious. But this worries me because of this meeting that's coming up. Yes, I'm her favorite, but she's been getting more distant. And though I am lesser nobility, I am still nobility. Is she going to try to use me as a bargaining tool in this kind of meeting because she knows she can trust me to a certain extent? And so, a little nervous about that.
Do you suspect that, like, with this growing suspicion that she's like maybe going to be entering some kind of engagement or marriage. Are you more concerned about where you fall, like what your future holds with the kingdom?
Not with the kingdom per se as much as with her. She doesn't plan on inheriting much anyways, the eighth child, but
Yeah.
her heart is fragile.
Are you making any kind of backup plan for like if we make this trip back alone?
She would, but she's too scared to. So not yet.
Any questions, Dylan?
No.
Okay. It's Dylan's turn. Oh, fuck.
The queen gave you a compliment once. What was it, and why have her words stayed with you? Ooh.
What big teeth you have.
I'm not a werewolf. The fuck?
But you could be a werewolf bodyguard. We don't know.
We don't know. We haven't established that yet.
I could be. I could be.
It's not
but
in
no,
the canon yet. Oh, okay.
She gave me a
Mermaid.
compliment. What was it, and why have her words stayed with me? I think I think there was a point where she was in a meeting that was like super confidential. Like I wasn't allowed in the room, and so I didn't have as much to do as usual, and so I was singing to myself, and I didn't notice the meeting end, and she complimented my singing voice, and I think like singing is a thing that like happened at home a lot, but I was always really self-conscious about my singing voice, and so I like didn't like to sing around people, and like had I known anyone was listening, I absolutely wouldn't have, and that's why it stuck with me, is because I was super self-conscious about this thing for so long, but she said something nice about it. And so, like, anytime I get that urge to, like, sing something, like, first I tense up and get like, oh God, but then I remember that moment, and I feel kind of okay about it.
Do you sing in front of her, like, intentionally now?
Yes, absolutely.
What kind of song were you first singing?
In what sense? Like, what was the topic of the song?
Yeah, like, was it a ballad? Was it like a sad song? What was the tone of it? Like, what was the
I think it was. I think my parents were farmers. And then like my dad probably got conscripted into the army or something, and that's how when I was born I ended up going into guard services. Like I learned stuff from my dad, and then went and became a guard. But I think because our family roots were in the sort of pastoral farming, maybe shepherding tradition, I think there were a lot of songs that got passed down to me about sort of the landscape of our kingdom.
Okay.
And so that's what I was singing about, is some song about like the rolling green hills and the mists in the morning, that sort of stuff.
Okay. Very cool.
Cute. I love it and I hate it.
You're welcome.
My turn.
Oh yeah.
What makes the queen ugly in your eyes?
Dare you?
I know her so well, so I feel like there's definitely shit.
Oh yeah.
I'll stab you right now.
Oh man. I don't know. We've built her up to be so compassionate and pretty a pretty forgiving queen.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I think. What? Do you have a suggestion?
I have a suggestion / question.
Okay.
Has she always been that way? Was she super kind as a kid?
Oh.
I
Or was that a learned
think
behavior?
I think she's always been that way.
Okay.
But I think that I probably the last person to fucking judge. I think that she's pretty thoughtless in her actions. Like being compassionate to people can be a beautiful, wonderful thing, but I think she often forgets herself and like what she stands for, and she can be seen as weak by people who want to take the crown from her.
Mm.
And I think that she's very she trusts her gut, which is another thing that like can be very admirable, but to someone who is very close to her, I can see the way that other people look at her when she makes these gut decisions without getting advice from her advisors. And or you know, even coming to me for advice is pretty thoughtless, right? Rather than going to someone who has been trained in like the art of war, and she's asking for my fucking opinion on like where do we send our troops, like these big questions, right? That can be pretty thoughtless. And I think it's kind of manifested as what I would perceive as a lack of self-preservation. And I think that to me, like the inability to guard herself and guard the crown as closely and as carefully as she should is pretty ugly.
Do you think that my character's presence has been a negative or a beneficial effect on the Queen's self-preservation since entering into the Queen's life?
I think that it is a mixed bag because I can see that you make her happy, right?
Mhm.
Like I can see that your presence in her life has been a positive thing for her. I can see how it's been a negative thing in many other aspects of her ruling the country, right?
Mhm.
And probably negative, having had a negative impact on what other people might think of her. Because obviously people would expect her to marry to the benefit of the country, and I
Mhm.
definitely think I've said something about it.
Okay.
Maybe not
Nice.
on this trip, like not since you've been in such close
Uh-huh.
proximity, but I think that I've definitely in the past have been like, is this the best decision for the country? Like what you're doing. Like I want you to be happy, obviously, but you also have a country that you stand for, and kind of pull up that compassion a little bit to think of her country
Ooh.
first.
Oh, snap.
Rude.
Yeah.
Okay.
How pointed of a question am I allowed to ask?
You can ask as pointed as you want. You can literally say like, I mean, I've asked questions like, what did you do when this person walked in on you boning before?
Yeah.
Like you can like ask
Great.
questions like that.
Great. So, why haven't you told either of us that the reason for this trip is that the Queen is planning to give away a portion of the kingdom as her terms for this alliance that has nothing to do with getting married?
As per my prerogative, as given in the instructions, I am not going to answer that question.
Okay.
Oh.
That's the other fuck you can do in this game. Just so good. You can just be like, no, I don't feel like answering that question. That doesn't mean that that's like what you've laid out isn't true. It just means that I'm not going to answer it.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Yeah. Lindy, do it.
All right. I'm gonna do it so good.
Do it.
Oh god.
Oh, you are
Wow.
considered beautiful by almost everyone you meet. How does the Queen make you question that perception? Oh. Okay. Huh. The Queen knows I'm really pretty physically, but she makes me question that by questioning some of my actions. Of why do you keep this advisor around? She's not nobility. She's not like any of this stuff. Um, yeah, she's loyal, but anyone can buy loyalty. Like, just that kind of thing. Like, she makes me question my inner beauty rather than the outer beauty, which is what everyone else sees.
Was there like a particular moment that she first like put this little like doubt in your head that maybe you weren't as beautiful inside as you are on the outside?
Yeah, I think it was at a masquerade ball, and I had figured out who some of the people were behind the masks, and I had turned a gentleman down for a dance because he didn't have he wasn't nobility really. He was a knight's squire, and I was like, I don't owe you a dance. Why would I dance with you? And she was like, well, you're not dancing with anyone else. Why would you not dance? And I was like, because he was a nobody. And she's like, well, everyone's a nobody at some point. I was like, oh snap.
Did she show you up by dancing with him herself?
She did. She definitely did. Like 2 minutes later, the next song went on, and she asked him to dance, and he was ecstatic, and I felt real shitty.
She just kept looking at you the whole time, like
she definitely did.
Oh God, ouch. Is it getting worse being on this trip?
I think she's afraid that it is, but she's trying to be better.
Is it like you'd sort of expected as the comforts of the palace faded, she would become a little more self-centered, and that just hasn't happened yet?
Yeah, and so I'm trying to adapt myself to that, and like, well, these are her ideals, and I care about her as a person, so I'm going to try to live up to them. It's hard, especially with all the stuff going on right now, but I'm gonna try.
Yeah, I think it would be especially hard given the fact that you've been feeling like more distant.
Oh yeah.
Like, it makes 100%. It a little bit harder to consciously act compassionately rather than lash out.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think it's just manifested in fast eating at meal times. Just eat this stew.
Kiro, how did you get here? Oh God. Dylan, this is a question for me and you. What is it that's changed that has made us notice this?
that has made us notice Lindy's character feels
the active change in like personality that we're probably seeing.
I think I feel like Lindy's character probably didn't give you the time of day before the trip. Like wouldn't even acknowledge your presence in a room. You were just furniture.
Yeah.
But now that now that we're out on the road and have been for a while, I think she's maybe started thanking you when you like bring her food at the end of the day, or like there's not a whole lot of conversational partners. So yeah, maybe like striking up a conversation with one of the two of us. And I think that's pretty noticeable, given that we've both been around the Queen so much. We would have seen her coming and going and like know what the usual interaction is like, and this is not it.
Yeah.
Which I obviously am taking as very suspicious.
Yeah, I think same. Literally same. I think like I don't like this. Go back to ignoring me.
I'm preparing myself to have to stab you.
Okay.
It's just you have to prepare yourself to stab anyone that's close to the Queen.
It's true.
It's part of the job.
All right. Dylan.
Ooh, what brings out the Queen's kindness?
You're getting all the sweet Queen.
You are getting all the sweet ones.
It's because the game knows I want a Queen that's not evil. I'm actually gonna X this one and draw a new one because I feel like we already know the answer to that. You arranged for the queen to be ambushed on this journey. What did they offer you?
Dylan!
How dare you?
They
You're
offered me
their
nothing.
bodyguard.
They offered me nothing. But I know what she's planning to give away, and I know that our country wouldn't recover from it. So I've been driving a wedge between her and her greatest emotional support, Lindy's character, and bringing doubt into the queen's mind so she doesn't have as much emotional space to be prepared and aware of her surroundings. So, yeah.
What did you do or fuck up that made me suspicious of you? Not necessarily like know what you're up to. But
I think there was an offhand comment, like a joke, maybe, that you made about someone kind of suspicious or hinky, like when we were going through a crossroads or something.
Yeah.
You two were talking about me. Like, oh, she's real suspicious, huh? And you're like, huh.
And you would expect me, like, normally, like, I'm not a statue. I make jokes. I have a humor bone in here somewhere. But, like, even so, I typically take that sort of stuff very seriously. And, like, even if it just seems like a joke, I'll entertain it and, like, run it down and make sure everything's okay. And I didn't.
Do you feel guilty at all?
Very. Yes. But
it is what it is, I guess.
my my parents died in a small house outside the walls, and like if she gives away part of the country, who else's parents are gonna die out there?
Who made this deal with you? Who did you arrange this with? Was it the country we've been at war at? Was it our country? Was it a third party? Was it a third country?
I arranged it with some of my dad's old war buddies. I went to them and told them what was going on, and they were furious about it. They had friends who'd given their lives for our kingdom against this country that we're going to now, and so they agreed.
Is this death or capture of the queen?
It's death.
What about me and Lindy?
Dude, no witnesses.
Oh,
Okay.
I think I was one of the people that pushed for this to be a small retinue.
Ooh.
I probably came up with some story about, like, if it was a large group going this distance, we'd draw more attention, we'd be in more danger, so it'd be safer to go as a smaller group.
And to the other party, you're going, no one's gonna miss an eighth kid of Duke's son and some maid.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I don't think
Cool.
I picked who it was. I think I was just like, a smaller group would be good, and then she picked the two of you.
And you're like, perfect.
I'm not feeling good about it. Like, I still don't trust you, Lindy. I don't trust your character.
That's most parties I'm in, honestly. Yeah.
But I've been around the queen enough to, like, probably get to know Summer's character,
Mhm.
and like, you're sort of representative of the people that I'm doing this for, and so I definitely feel like I feel bad about betraying the queen, like really bad about it. But you are the sort of kernel of doubt in all of this, where I'm like, is this actually the right thing to do?
Party. Any more questions, Lindy?
Oh man, I don't think so. I think we asked a bunch about that one.
Draw the next card.
What a rude card.
I
The
know.
queen lights a fire in you. What is it? I think that it doesn't happen often. Um, but I think that there's been this kind of like unknown, like untapped, especially now that we're on this journey and she has less people to ask for opinions and advice and that kind of thing. Like it's literally just one of us three. Um, that has made me like kind of fall in love with politics a little bit. And I think like kind of took it for granted when we were at the palace of like, you know, she would ask me for opinions on stuff and I wouldn't see it enacted, you know, like I had the vague idea that these things were happening. But I think like as we've been on this journey, like especially when we were closer to our kingdom, I was like seeing things that were put into place based on advice that I gave her. And now that we're in a smaller party, when she asks me for advice on like, well, how do you think we should proceed through this city? Like, is it better to go undercover? Like that kind of thing. And I give her advice and she acts on it immediately. Like she takes my opinion very highly. I think it's kind of giving me like a taste of what being her could be like. Like if somebody else was in that seat of power. Um and it makes me want to I think it makes me want to move up from where I am, which I think I've always been very happy with where I am, like just beside the queen. But I think like especially lately, it's started turning into me kind of having an ambition to be in a higher seat of power so that I can make these changes myself without asking other people for advice, kind of thing.
So obviously the queen like still has a job while she's
Yeah.
on the road.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She still has like proclamations to make and policies to write. Are you flattered, nervous, or do you feel put upon that she has you writing these things, right? Like she'll discuss the subject with you, listen to advice, and then have you write the final like legislation. How do you feel about that?
I think for now it's like the closest I can get to being to actually having real power.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so I think that I'm pretty okay with it actually. Like yeah, it's irritating that she doesn't do this for herself, but like if I was it to be in her shoes, like I would want to be doing it myself. So I feel like it's definitely preparing me for a future that I might want. Um Whether I get that or not. Like it's just it's good training for me
Yeah.
with someone with no formal like education, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other than just like growing up alongside her and seeing the things that she was taught. And I'm sure she taught me a little bit too. Um
I
as she was going through it.
So like regardless of her actual reasons, do you feel like this is like she pities the fact that you can't um that you can't be a noble, or that she recognizes that and is purposefully giving you an opportunity to be as close as you can? Which of those two things do you feel is more emotionally true?
I don't think she pities me.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't have any questions for that one.
Okay. Lindy, it's your turn.
Oh no, it is. Okay. The queen
Ouch.
is responsible for the death of someone you loved. Who and what happened? I'm sorry, I've got to get the card right on the top. It's my OCD. Oh gosh. Okay. Huh. Queen is responsible for the death of My father, the Duke. He, during the, like the peak of the war, he was found to have been conspiring against the Queen, kind of conspiring with the enemy a bit, and she had him, put to death by beheading. And so, it happened, I was, not too long ago, a few years ago, several years ago. And at first I didn't know what happened, but then news circulated and got out, and I couldn't believe that he would do something like that. And so she was kind of one of the people who, while she met out his sentence and sentenced him to that fate, she was one of the few who consoled me about it. She was one of the few who wasn't like, your father was a dirty, dirty traitor. She was actually sympathetic, and that's kind of how we started hanging out originally, is she was kind of consoling me in that fact.
Does your character know that Summer's character's advice was the advice that got your father killed?
She does not.
Interesting.
Did you ever doubt her genuineness in consoling you? Because there were obviously reasons that she should want you to remain on her side, right?
I think at first she did, but then as time kind of went on, she saw that the Queen was genuine in her compassion and emotion and solace for the loss of the Duke. Because he was, a decent person. He just got entangled in the wrong side of the war a little bit. So, at first, but she got over it.
Dope. Yikes. Okay. Dylan.
When was the last time the Queen hurt you? And with that, we're at the top of an hour. So we're going to step away for a couple minutes to a break. And when we come back, we will hear my answer to this question.
Oh, man. Convenient, Dylan.
Yeah.